Hello everybody, my name is Alan from Sauber-Lab, and today we're gonna try to compare three different types of storage. The first one is the hard drive that have that disk that rotate around 7,200 RPMs. The second one will be the SATA SSD, and the last one will be the NVMe. And in this way we're gonna try to understand which one's better, which one is worse, and which one that will fit better for your applications. After this video, at least you're gonna understand a little bit more and make the best decision for your use need. So if you like this idea and want to learn a little bit more about it, we're gonna show in this video. But first of all, don't forget to leave your like, consider subscribe for the channel if you're not subscribed, and let's understand a little bit more about it. As I told, in this video we're gonna try to understand different types of storage. So if you guys come here in my screen, we're gonna try to compare the performance between normal hard drive, SSD, and the NVMe. And all of those, what will be the best performance for your NAS. So to understand better, what is the key thing that we need to understand? First, it's read and write. What's the speeds that we can get if you use SSD, NVMe, or a normal hard drive? Also, what's the average latency, power consumption, endurance, or how many terabytes of writing they can support, and cost per gigabyte. To understand a little bit more about that information, I create this table which give those three types of storage. The first one, hard drive, SSD, and NVMe. So hard drive, they normally have speeds of read and write around 100 to 160. This means that will be quite slow because it's a mechanical disk, and this reason that they give it the 7,200 RPM, because basically it's a disk inside a metal disk that is rotating and that the reader needed to move for the location according for index information. So you have mechanical limitations. It's not so fast as the SSD that already give a little bit high speed, 5 times more at least, what give around 500 to 550 megabytes per second, and this will allow the data to be read or to be transferred faster. And if you compare for NVMe, this case that will be the big gain, where you can get 3000 megabytes or over 3000 megabytes of read and write speeds. Latency will be the time that you can start to retrieve the data, and if you're gonna do only a big file, this will not affect so much, but if you're gonna do a lot of small files, you're gonna feel a lot, because basically if you go for hard drive, that disk needed to rotate and that reader needed to go for the correct position, and that needed to move for another position and move another position, what create more latency. If you go for SSDs, SATA, it's read fast, it's a medium term because it's still not the latest technology, and NVMe you're gonna have a really low latency, will be almost instantly and will download and read really fast. For the power consumption, because mechanic needed to rotate something, will be really high power consumption compared for other two tapes, because as I told, something needed to be rotated, have a motor there, have a disk that needed to be rotated, a reader that needs to move to the correct position. There will be more noise and more vibration because of the disk. If you consider the SATA, will be less power consumption, and for NVMe will be the lowest one because of the shape, the size, and the type of configuration that they have. For endurance, how long that you can resist it, how many terabytes of reading they can support. For hard drive it's really high, the same thing for NVMe, that is quite high, but for the SSD SATA it's medium term, they normally burn in a short time, and the read and write it's less than a physical hard drive or a NVMe. For the cost, normally the hard drive is the cheapest one that you're gonna get. In comparison, let's say you can get a hard drive of 20 terabytes with the same price that you're gonna buy for a SSD SATA of 4 terabytes. Let's say that it's a NVMe of 2 terabytes. So this is a big difference. You can make a big storage with hard drives, but if you go for SATA NVMe, it will cost more to get exactly the same size of storage that you could have for the hard drive. This reason is different applications for each one. So what is really important? you have two types of read and write information. If you go for sequence read and write, normally all the device will perform really fast, really well, and they will just work because basically if you have a hard drive, they will read continuously, they will not be jumping the reader over the disks. If you think for SSD will be the same, will be really fast, and NVMe will be the best one. But the difference will be when you start to read and write random information. When you start to read and write random information, you can feel more difference because the hard drive, they will need to move a lot for your disk in different positions, what take time. Mechanic parts take time to move compared for only electronic parts. And this reason that hard drive will perform really bad for those options, and for NVMe will be almost instantly. So hard drives will have the worst performance for round information, SSDs will be a balance, and the NVMe will be the best one, will be the fast one, and will get the best performance for you. But okay, which case that I would like to use each option. So if I only want to have a backup storage, or I don't need to have a lot of users read and write lots of information at the same time, or the files is big instead of lots of small files, hard drive will be the best option and the cheapest option before you make a big pool. If you want a media server or a Plex server or something that you need a little bit more speeds and less latency, you don't want to buffer so much, SATA SSD will be one of the best choice. And if you want to use Docker containers, VMs, or Dockers that have properly database, let's say Nextcloud, these will need more random readings. They will be constant readings, and the speed is quite essential. Imagine that all the information needed to be read, indexed, and that will be recognized for database. And if it take a long time to do this activity, you're gonna feel a little bit frustrated, and that NVMe will be the best options. Also, if you go to cache, let's say that you want to do this LR2 cache, that's only read cache, all the read and write cache as log, if you use NVMe will be the best performance because basically they will start to copy all the information to my cache, and that after this one, with time, slowly, they will copy all the information for my hard drive. This reason that if you do a read and write cache, they require two hard drives because not all the information will be directly on your hard drive, will be first in the cache. So hard drive, the bottleneck will be if you wanted to use random information, lots of different use, access different things, this will be a big difference for you. If you want to have a lot of users